Tonight in 7 News, Queenslanders light up the dawn, honouring the Anzac legend from their driveways. Elephant Rock shines without the Currumbin service on a day where few people were allowed at cenotaphs. Words of wisdom from veterans who fought in wars and now living through a pandemic. Teenage robbers ambush the Toowoomba family of a serviceman as they pay their respects. The medical weapon built in Northgate to help the fight against coronavirus. And an emotional Anzac Day surprise leaves a Vietnam veteran without words.
Live from Brisbane, 7 News with Katrina Blowers.
Good evening. They were told to stay at home, but that was never going to stop Australians from honouring their Anzacs. Returned servicemen and women who'd usually march through the streets instead stood alongside their fellow Queenslanders, lighting up the dawn from their driveways in any and every way imaginable.
As day broke over the Brisbane River, John Kennedy joined the chorus from his South Bank balcony. Isolation would not weary them.
Or be used condemned.
On an Anzac Day unlike any other. Queenslanders lined their driveways in the darkness to light up the dawn.
Lest we forget.
And as the sun rose over Currumbin Valley and reached suburbia from Springfield Lakes to Gladstone, streets fell silent, then filled with that haunting sound.
Some emotions built up.
Even a pandemic couldn't dim the Anzac spirit.
We've adapted and we've overcome as a community, as a nation.
On Saddleback Street, they sat. On Arthur Terrace, they stood, candles in hand or an elderly, alongside the Southern Cross, united by one purpose.
So we remember them.
At dawn in Deagon, there was no dress code. Instead, residents wore their hearts on their sleeves.
Just make sure that the diggers out there that aren't able to attend the marches today know that we really do care.
There was Ronan and his golden retriever in Yirongpilly.
I felt like I was a part of it.
While down the road, Frankie O'Leary honoured her brother, who died in the Battle of Long Tan.
This was really amazing. I'm just so thankful that all the neighbours came out.
At a time when Queenslanders have been forced apart, perhaps never before has there been an Anzac Day that has brought communities closer together. There are now calls for us to light up the dawn on April 25 every year.
After a few really tough weeks, it's really made us feel good to come together.
Over a cuppa and an Anzac biscuit to remember.
We are one, but we are many.
As mateship was forged with music from Mountain Creek to Caboolture.
I was only 19.
In the face of COVID-19. Mac Lyon, 7 News.
As you can see behind me, in the heart of the city tonight, the Eternal Flame lights up Anzac Square. For 90 years, Brisbane residents have met there to pay their respects. Today, a small and sombre group led the charge.
A single flame in an otherwise empty Anzac Square. The Anzac spirit burning as bright as ever, despite the restrictions. An unrecognisable start to what has always been a packed service. From Brisbane's first parade in 1916 to last year, crowds have only grown. And still, this year, 6 people bearing red Australian flags paid their respects.
You'll notice a red flag, that's a flag of Federation, that's a flag they actually fought under.
Holding their own service.
They sit no more at familiar tables at home.
The few people who were in the city took the chance to reflect. The weight of our soldiers' sacrifice felt by all.
Because it's so different, I thought I'd come for the 6 o'clock to commemorate this very special dawn. And I'm just thinking of my friends that have served and those who have passed on to higher service as well.
Despite a warning not to fly, this was a mark of respect above Brisbane. In Upper Coomera, a bear was brought to the cenotaph, while in Gladstone the wreaths were homemade.
Just to pay the respects and the honour they are due.
The Governor shooting this Anzac message yesterday.
To solemnly remember extraordinary people.
Anzac Day may look different this year, but veterans say they still feel we're together, just in a different way today.
It hasn't passed without some significant commemoration, I think, at home for everybody.
One we won't soon forget. Isabel Mullen, 7 News.
Landmarks across the southeast have turned red tonight as a mark of respect. Joel Dry is at Kangaroo Point. Joel, how did Brisbane commemorate the day?
Katrina, the Story Bridge is indeed lit up red tonight, which is a usual occurrence on Anzac Day, but very little else about the day was familiar. So many of the traditions that we hold so dear and connect with Anzac Day have been paused this year, and so Brisbane residents had to come up with some new and pretty unique ways to commemorate the occasion. There was nothing normal about this Anzac Day, so why not a horse striding along suburban streets?
That's a beautiful, beautiful day.
Veteran Pete Riches and Trooper Jones sharing the spirit through Jindalee.
We're just going around talking to people and thanking them for standing on their street corners.
Corners coloured across Brisbane with poppy red and flags with white and blue. Chalk used in Enoggera to send a message, the same tools that turned this Barden front fence into a makeshift memorial.
Once we finished it, I think we were very proud of ourselves.
The Goodwin siblings doing their bit
to remember the people who were in the wars.
Throughout the day and across the city, remembrance was unusually marked from home, but bagpipes in Cinnamon Park enough to stir the same emotions for Glenn Hindmarsh.
Anzac Day's always been a very moving tribute for me. The significance of forefathers, great uncles that have served overseas, and my grandfather.
One of the most stark changes forced by the COVID-19 crisis is the lack of the Anzac Day parade. For the first time since World War II, these city streets that would normally be filled with service men and women marching and lined with Queenslanders paying their respects are virtually empty. As were usually crowded pubs, so socialising was done on the street, a barbecue and bubbles on the lawn.
Just doing our bit to try and keep the Anzac spirit alive.
2 Up, also alive, but only online. Trying to stay normal when life is anything but. Joel Dry, 7 News.
While the Gold Coast missed out on its biggest dawn service at Currumbin, that only inspired the community to find new ways of paying tribute. Army heroes and crafty residents brought small services to the suburbs.
As the sun rose at Elephant Rock, it was still and quiet. The first Anzac Day in 30 years with no huge crowds here, no service, but the same emotion was felt.
Dad's ashes got spread here on the surf boats.
An amazing day that I would never miss out on.
And they didn't. Currumbin locals arrived solo to pay their respects separately, lighting candles on their balconies to salute the soldiers.
It's a little bit eerie.
Instead, they watched a televised service on 7 Sunrise. Inland at Eleonora, a symbolic gesture, the rock painted on the street.
To make our driveway represent the Elephant Rock.
As they found a new place to pause and remember. Old warplanes flew over cenotaphs at Currumbin to Holywell, Bruce Wallace drove his military machine through Tullabudgera Valley, greeting neighbours.
My part of it was only small, but they showed their feeling.
While war veterans shared the Anzac tale.
You forget the bad times and you try to remember the good times.
And while virus concerns cancelled the coast's most well-known dawn service, the restrictions still didn't stop hundreds of people from packing the coastline, sunbaking on the sand.
Yeah, it does upset me a bit. We lost a lot of men during the wars and these kids don't know a thing about it.
And while the world wages a war of a different kind, RSL presidents say today's commemorative scenes prove the spirit of Anzac will never be forgotten. On the Gold Coast, Crystal Etherington, 7 News.
It was a very different Anzac Day for our veterans, but their focus remained the same, remembering mates who never made it home. And while many prepared for a quiet time in isolation, the kindness of neighbours and community caught them by surprise.
Since dawn, the dance card of Keith Hurst has been full.
It's brought the neighbourhood, I think, together.
Family and community joined the 93-year-old in lockdown at first light, sharing a morning the great-grandfather usually commemorates at Redland Bay Shrine.
I reckon it was better. I shouldn't say that, but I enjoyed myself better this morning.
Why was it better?
Well, I was allowed to do what I wanted to do.
19-year-old Corporal Hurst served in Japan with the occupational forces in 1946.
The houses had all been blown to smithereens in Hiroshima.
Some memories are easier to share than others, but with special socks and a quick wit, this sprightly veteran remembered fallen comrades and honoured mates he should have been shaking hands with.
I wish us all the best on the day.
Keith Payne, Australia's oldest surviving Victoria Cross recipient, has experienced his fair share of different Anzac Days. Not all have been good. The Vietnam veteran says this one was, even if it was spent at home in Mackay.
My wife will probably throw cheers.
While they're missing out on their marches and their reunions this year, veterans say they're so very grateful for the community spirit and the kindness of neighbours who are honouring them and toasting long after them.
Have a sleep. Have a bye-bye. Me a nanny nap.
To the vets out there, have one for me, fellas.
Kim Scubris, 7 News.
The Prime Minister has urged Australians to remain united in the face of the pandemic in honour of the Anzac spirit. He's delivered a message of hope at the Australian War Memorial in Canberra, where the dawn service was far more intimate than ever before.
Dawn at the Tomb of the Unknown Soldier and a new Anzac Day. The National Service, a solemn, powerful but contained tribute to those who made the great sacrifice. The War Memorial hosting a select few for a service meant to stir the Anzac legacy in living rooms across the country.
Fathers and sons, mothers and daughters, sisters and brothers, who gave their lives for this country and the people they loved.
The Prime Minister paying his respects, as well Governor-General David Hurley, Defence Force Chief Angus Campbell and Opposition Leader Anthony Albanese. The service, an echo from 101 years ago. Then the Spanish flu, more deadly than the Western Front, killed 50 million and kept troops returning from the Great War away from Anzac gatherings.
There were no dignitaries, no bands, just the sound of lapping water on a lonely shore. One said of that little service, it was the real thing.
In 1942, as Japan bombed Northern Australia, Anzac Day changed again.
There are no mass gatherings, there are no large concentrations of people getting together for Anzac Day.
At the memorial, returned soldiers marched, but the public stayed away, barely recognisable from the modern-day turnouts as the legend passed 100 years. Now, Anzac confronts its second pandemic. No crowds, In fact, here they concede the virus is reinventing the day. The really big crowds might never need to come back.
We may look back in 2020 and think, oh, how quaint. This is when we started to just commemorate at home. This is when our commemoration went digital.
The Governors-General of Australia and New Zealand joined for a both sides of the ditch Anzac message.
David and I acknowledge the enduring bonds forged between our two countries by the Anzacs.
We are proud of our Anzac forebears. Let us make them proud of us.
The day changed, but undimmed.
Australians all, lest we forget.
Tim Lester, 7 News.
Landmarks across Sydney have lit up in a special tribute for Anzac Day. A bugler played the last post from the top steps of the Opera House, followed by a minute's silence, while the War Memorial in Hyde Park came alive. The Sydney service, which usually attracts huge crowds, was instead televised. Sacred sites around the world, usually packed with pilgrims, were eerily quiet this Anzac Day. Plenty of individuals still woke before dawn to carry on the tradition.
A lone tribute on the Western Front, sombre, silent, for such a very different reason.
Que maire de Fromelles a honoré nos amis australiens.
Villers-Bretonneux, eerily empty, sacred ground where so many Australians lie, not a person in sight. The mayor here is in a coma with coronavirus. But the nearby towns always remember. They just did it in different ways, like so many of us paying tribute from home. In Gallipoli, where Australians sleep, then stand shoulder to shoulder each year, just 3 masked faces. And a single wreath as the sun rose over Anzac Cove.
In 2020, with the virus going around the world, it's even more special.
No one forgot. From a Paris balcony, a bugler from the French Republican Guard plays alone. And at Menengate in Belgium, just a handful came to the memorial where hundreds usually gather every night. In the Middle East, those still serving remembered the soldiers before them at dawn, live streamed on Facebook. And beneath the sky, like nowhere else, wreaths laid on Antarctic ice. Australian teams already in extreme isolation, able to stand a little closer than most.
Come on, the heads.
In London, Hugh Whitfeld, 7 News.
To the weather now, and Laura, conditions today were pretty close to perfect.
On a day when we're all counting our blessings, Katrina, it was another reason to appreciate how lucky we are here in Queensland. Temperatures are still just sitting a couple of degrees above average across most of the state. In the southeast, it still would have been chilly at dawn in the west, down to 9 degrees at Canungra. It warmed to 30 degrees in Beaudesert and 29 in Brisbane and Ipswich, 27 on the coast. I'll have more weather soon.
Thanks, Laura. Just ahead, the war against coronavirus is continuing. The engineers and doctors teaming up to create a new weapon to boost survival rates. The airport's taking possession of Virgin planes over unpaid fees. The painful end to a paraglider's flight, which goes off course. And before the weather, a veteran surprised with an emotional service on his front lawn.
Beyond the coronavirus crisis.
We'll show you the road out.
Your family, your job, your child's education, your money, your home.
Special reports, night by night.
Your essential guide for the better days ahead.
Only on 7 News, starting Monday. No case has ever been like this. Each family member, all prime suspects.
Did you murder your father?
Witness every bizarre development. Family of Suspects, Sunday.
Right now, our Anzac spirit is more important than ever.
At the going down of the sun.
And in the morning.
We will remember them.
Lest we forget.
infused oil deluxe crisps from Red Rock Deli.
Employees of Budget Direct, over 20 years, you have become the country's most award-winning insurer, providing top-notch cover for more than 3 million Australians.
It's a start. 22 million to go. Will you help people get a better deal on their car insurance?
Will you fight to save Australians on their home insurance?
Oh, Karen. She loves saving people money.
Who are you?
Proudly saving Australians on insurance for 20 years. Budget Direct. Insurance solved.
This is an important message for all Queenslanders about COVID-19. We all know by now that we need to flatten the curve. Right now, the most important thing for all Queenslanders to do is to stay at home. You can still shop for essentials, you can still exercise, visit your doctor, or make trips to work if you really need to. But if you have to go out, remember to practice social distancing. Staying home doesn't mean you can't stay connected. Use technology to keep in touch. Call friends and family often. Use video calls. Start group chats to still get together. Because right now, keeping away is the kindest thing you can do. For hints and tips on how to stay connected while staying at home, visit the COVID-19 website. Stay home, save lives. Authorised by the Queensland Government, Brisbane.
Employees of Budget Direct, over 20 years, you have become the country's most award-winning insurer, providing top-notch cover for more than 3 million Australians.
It's a start. 22 million to go. Will you help people get a better deal on their car insurance?
Will you fight to save Australians on their home insurance?
Oh, Karen. She loves saving people money.
Who are you?
Proudly saving Australians on insurance for 20 years. Budget Direct. Insurance solved.
Tasty, affordable and delicious. What's for dinner in the next break with Coles?
Adelaide Airport has joined Perth in taking possession of Virgin Australia planes because of unpaid bills. 7 planes are being held in Adelaide because the airport is owed $10 million in terminal and airfield fees. Virgin Australia went into receivership earlier this week. Brisbane Airport won't be impounding any aircraft for now. The airline has confirmed scheduled flights won't be affected. There have again been only 2 new COVID-19 cases as Queensland continues to flatten its coronavirus curve. Now, local engineers and doctors are helping nearby developing countries that are struggling to contain the virus.
Usually, Ollie Tech in Northgate makes mining machinery, but COVID-19 has got them thinking differently. Introducing the Ozvader, a ventilator for the critically ill. In just 4 weeks, a working prototype is complete, the result of Australian engineers, academics and doctors putting their brawn and brains together.
That's the great way of moving forward, is everyone coming together and solving the problem.
At around $5,000, it costs a tenth of a normal ventilator and is made with a tenth of the parts, designed for developing countries.
Indonesia has as many ventilators or slightly fewer ventilators than Australia, and 10 times our population.
All it needs is approval from the Therapeutic Goods Administration.
Following that, we will be manufacturing however many we need of these. It might be a batch of 100, it could be 10,000, we don't know yet. But for as long as that goes out and saves one life, this whole process would have been worth it.
A weapon in the coronavirus war that's still waging here in the Sunshine State. Every day more than 2,000 Queenslanders are being tested. Overnight, 2 tested positive. Of the now 1,026 cases, 217 are still active. 6 of those are in ICU. The message to all Queenslanders remains the same, not to become complacent, because police certainly aren't. Overnight, 33 new infringement notices were issued under the Public Health Act. That's more than 1,300
in just under a month.
Tristan Vorius, 7 News.
A driver's been charged with attempted murder after an extraordinary attack caught on camera. That is Sergeant Major from Thailand's traffic police clinging to the bonnet of a car. The driver is accused of ramming into him, then continuing on for close to 2 kilometres as the officer held on. He eventually leapt clear when the car slowed down. A paraglider has had one rough landing, bouncing off a pine tree and crashing into someone's yard. Vance Sharp's GoPro was rolling as he fell at least 18 metres. Neighbours rushed in to call paramedics for the badly injured glider. He has head injuries, a broken arm, bruised lungs, and a week on, still no idea what happened. Anzac Day should unite us, the family of a Toowoomba serviceman, but it's been left after they were robbed by armed thugs during their own dawn service. Vandals target the home of the Porsche driver linked to a fatal police crash, while a generous pensioner left an enormous tip for cafe staff. After sport, the marathon mission to free a whale trapped in fishing line.
The collapse of Anzac.
Everyone you see, everyone you know is gone.
How its legacy lives on. Flashback, 7 News, Sunday at 6.
Hello.
Hello.
Hello. I've chosen
My
housemates. Now.
I'm ready to play.
Hi guys, Dan and Steph here from My Kitchen Rules and Eat at Dan and Steph's in Harvey Bay, and we hope you're doing really well at home in ISO and finding your routine. We've spent a lot of time in the kitchen together and we love coming up with recipes. And today's recipe, thanks to Coles, is sausage stuffed capsicums.
We've got 2 different elements to this dish, one being the sauce and one being the stuffed capsicums. We've got the same veggies in both. We've got garlic, onions, carrots. We've got the tops of the capsicums and tomatoes. So just divvy up evenly.
Okay, now we've got the vegetables all chopped up. The next step is preparing the capsicums. So all you need to do is chop the tops off and take out the core and clean it on the inside.
Our next step is to make the sausage filling for the capsicums. Very easy. Got some olive oil in the pan, a couple of tablespoons. We're going to add some dried oregano, some smoked paprika, a little hit of pepper, handful of my old mate Old Harold Holt, the salt. Once we've mixed that through, we'll add the tomatoes. We're just going to let that cook down and reduce, and then we're going to cool it straight away so we can add it to our sausages and rice. All right, so we got sausages and parsley in. We've got our 2 cups of cooked rice. We've got our saucy mixture. Goes in. This is the fun part. We're now going to stuff our capsicums. So we've got all our ingredients. We're going to chuck them all together, give them a good mix. This is where we get the kids in the kitchen, get their hands in there, get them all nice and dirty, and let's have some fun. Just got to spoon this mixture in, make sure they're nice and full. Time to make our sauce. Come with me. Hot pan, couple of tablespoons of olive oil, veggies in.
Next step with the sauce.
Tomatoes in. I've got 3 cups of chicken stock. And then we're going to let that simmer for about 15 minutes. Our secret recipe, guys, honey. Good squirt, about 3 tablespoons. Now with the sour cream. I think it needs a touch of salt and a little bit of pepper.
All right guys, we're nearly finished every single step. What we need to do is get that beautiful sauce into a really big pot.
Then we can put our capsicums in. We put the lid on, in the oven, 180 degrees, 30 minutes. Time to get these capsicums out of the oven. So we want to get the mozzarella in there and get it all melted over, and then we're going to top it with some grated parmesan as well. All right, let's get the lid back on this, get it back in the oven and let it do its thing. 20 to 25 minutes, 180 degrees, dinner served. Let's see what we got.
So there we have it guys. What's for dinner in our household thanks to Coles? Sausage stuffed capsicums. I'm sure that the whole family will love it. Enjoy and look after yourselves.
While the empty parks and memorials allowed for a more personal reflection this Anzac Day, technology has allowed both serving and former defence personnel to come together.
Doug Egan didn't think his first dawn service, as one of the youngest RSL sub-branch presidents in Australia, would be spent on his driveway.
It was definitely a different feel. It was a very sombering feel in the sense that there was no no awe factor.
Greater Springfield's Rebel Domain usually attracting a crowd of 9,000.
To me, it's a very big day for personal reflection and family remembrance.
Family remembrance, the inspiration for a Rupert McCall poem written for a father who lost his son in Afghanistan.
They will never be forgotten, not today, nor ever after.
Despite a quieter than usual Anzac Day for our most decorated soldier, Ben Roberts-Smith, isolation didn't stop all Anzac Day traditions.
Even though we live in the age of COVID, we're still able to have a beer, albeit a virtual beer over Zoom. So a few of us got together and told some stories and had a beer and just caught up for a couple of hours.
For the thousands of Australian servicemen and women deployed here in Australia and in operations overseas, technology has also helped them get messages home.
Big shout out to my family back in Brisbane, my missus and my son. Vidhan, make sure you play cricket on Anzac Day and enjoy your day.
I'd just like to say a thank you to my friends, family and colleagues back at home who have continued to support us. We'll be thinking of you.
As Australians thought of them and those that went before. Elliot Chipper, 7 News.
A driveway dawn service has been ambushed by thieves armed with multiple weapons, including a machete. Dave and Gillian Edwards are the parents of a Toowoomba serviceman. They were paying their respects when the group of 4 criminals approached them.
They told us unless we gave them the car, they would effing kill us. At that point, not much you can really do at that point.
The 4 offenders smashed a front window, then stole their vehicle before travelling to Brisbane, where they stole another 2 cars. Police later caught and arrested the boys in Toowoomba. The home of the Porsche driver who allegedly fled the scene of a deadly crash in Melbourne has been vandalised overnight. The word "die" was spray painted across the roller door of his home in Fitzroy. The 41-year-old is accused of fleeing the scene of a crash when a truck struck and killed 4 police officers. The mortgage broker has been put in protective custody after he was condemned by senior police over allegations he taunted a dying policewoman in the aftermath of the crash. Meghan Markle has accused a London tabloid of an agenda as she sues one paper for breaching her privacy. Allegations made by the Duchess are being aired in court for the first time as the Sussexes embark on what could be costly court battles.
When they emerged a married couple in 2018, they looked happy. But a private family drama was simmering away and has now boiled over into court proceedings. A pre-trial hearing as Meghan sues the Mail on Sunday for publishing a letter she sent to her father, Thomas. The paper is hoping to have elements of the royals' case struck out, including her claim Thomas was harassed, humiliated, manipulated and exploited by the tabloid. Its lawyers questioning how she could know if they haven't spoken in nearly 2 years. Meghan's team telling the court the estrangement between father and daughter had been stirred up by articles published last February. Her privacy had been breached and the paper had acted dishonestly. The hearing was held online, lawyers dialing in via video chat with the judge here in London. Also listening in, Harry and Meghan from their new home in LA. The judge is yet to decide what evidence will make it to the trial, which could still be months away. In London, Hugh Whitfield, 7 News.
US President Donald Trump has received backlash over a remark he now claims was sarcastic. In a press conference, the president questioned whether disinfectant could be injected to treat COVID-19, later claiming he was joking.
I was asking a question sarcastically to reporters like you, just to see what would happen.
The manufacturer of Dettol has released a statement saying under no circumstance should its products be administered into the human body. A Waterford family celebrating the arrival of a newborn son was treated to a street parade outside their home today. In an act of kindness, loved ones came together to share their joy from a distance. Horns tooting my goodness! Waves of support. At just 1 week old, Edison Harris was given a COVID-19 safe welcome to the world.
Such a surprise. I think you'd only just finished feeding.
Yeah, good timing, perfect timing.
The cavalcade of well-wishers was finally able to get their first glimpse in person of Eddie, an IVF miracle they'd been waiting to meet for a long time.
4.5 years to get to this point. So
Really
I feel
special.
very loved and blessed.
And a family trying to stay in business during lockdown had a big surprise when an anonymous letter arrived containing $750. It was donated by pensioners who told them they didn't need the government payout.
Someone did that to us. It's just fantastic.
You know what they say about working with children and animals? This mum has started a series of online training sessions to help keep kids active in social isolation. She managed to power on regardless.
I'll give you an icy pole if you're quiet, okay? That's called whatever it takes parenting.
I'm done with that. Well, we're being told to stay at home. But what if you don't have one? What's being done to help the homeless during the COVID-19 lockdown? A mercy mission to bring Australians home from South America. Rescue teams spend hours trying to free a trapped whale. And an emotional surprise dawn service which meant so much to one Vietnam veteran.
You slept with my brother, you covered it up for 20 odd years, and my daughter might be his.
What if he's not my dad?
I'll always be your dad and you'll always be my daughter.
Who is that anyway?
I told you to stay away.
Home and Away, weeknights at 7.
At Harvey Norman, our stores are open, with teams practicing social distancing to keep our community safe. Buy now on 60 months interest-free and receive a bonus gift card up to the value of $300. Shop for essential tech to keep working, a new appliance, or a bigger sofa or better mattress to make staying home more comfortable. Shop in-store or online, with both click and collect and delivery available. Take advantage of 60 months interest-free and receive a bonus gift card until Tuesday only.
Go!
How's that for serenity?
Can care be better at home?
Oh, it's sanctuary. Your home's a bit of a sanctuary. Yeah, for me, rehab at home, it gave me a huge amount of flexibility to be able to do the things I wanted to do. It allowed me to unstress and be in the moment in your house in your own comfort zone, which was really good for me and my state of mind.
Search Medibank at Home to see how we're creating better choices for our members.
When the weekend arrives, the real work begins. The kind that takes muscle, versatility, or an easier way. So I close the deal on a tough little workhorse. And we get the job done.
At Domino's, our first priority is the health and safety of our team members and customers. That's why we are now offering zero contact delivery. So you can get any large pizza from $15 delivered with total peace of mind.
At UE, we're all about how you use or don't use your car. But right now, most people who usually drive to work aren't. Most people who work from home are driving even less, and most retirees and commuters are homebound. If you are using your car less, we'd like to give you temporary relief on your car insurance premiums. UE clients, go to our website, follow the prompts, and your saving will be applied. Shopping around for car insurance? The same relief applies to you. UE, you insured.
Before you choose the bench tops and basins, or the doors and floors, think about an even bigger decision, the frame that holds everything up. A house frame made with true core steel has the inner strength and durability to remain straight and true for you and your family, now and in the future. To find builders using true core steel, visit truecore.com.au.
Checking Fuelcast now. The RACQ says fill up now if you're travelling for essential purposes. The average price for unleaded fuel in Brisbane is 88.8 cents and on the Gold Coast, 86 cents. A 43-year-old Homeview man has died when the ute he was driving crashed into traffic lights and a power pole at Waterford West around 7:30 this morning. The impact caused the post to snap. Diversions were in place near the intersection of Kingston Road and Allura Street for much of the day. Around 170 Australian and New Zealand residents stranded in South America are preparing to board a Qantas rescue flight home. They've been stuck overseas as a result of the global health crisis.
What I'm very excited about is seeing the look on the people's faces as they approach the aeroplane, see that great big kangaroo on the tail, and hopefully make them feel like they're just about home.
The flight will arrive in Melbourne tomorrow. It's the mantra that's united the world in the battle against COVID-19. Stay at home. But what if you didn't have one? Living on the streets or in your car can be scary enough. Now, our homeless community is facing a pandemic and they've never felt more alone.
Mick Sherritt never imagined he'd be homeless at 53.
I've always gone from one job to another.
Until 2018.
I lost all my immediate family. Within 11 months, I didn't want to be.
Repeated requests for time off work to grieve left him unemployed, living out of his caravan and car at Redcliffe.
Once upon a time you'd apply for a job and you'd either hear back yes or no. Now you apply for 100 jobs and don't even know if they've got it.
Volunteer organisations like Tuckerbox Ministry help fill the gaps, providing more than a meal, a regular check-in with clients who've become friends.
Thank God for the people who work for the charities.
More isolated than that I've ever been. We've had a few teary moments.
But organisations are bracing for increased demand following further job losses.
Trying to get as much food in as we can into storage. I can see another spike in need.
In Toowong, a short-term solution for 500 Queenslanders at risk or already homeless. Self-contained apartments that would usually house international students turned into crisis housing. 280 students were still living in this building until last week, moving to make way for those in need. Meanwhile, beds in places like Caboolture are still in desperate need. A time to spare a thought and some compassion for those less fortunate. Georgie Chumley, 7 News.
Coming up, the emotional surprise service for a Vietnam veteran in his front yard. And a happy end to the mammoth mission to save a whale stuck in a fishing net. But now, with all the Anzac Day sport, here's Pat.
Katrina, thank you. Hello, everyone. Coming up, superstars from so many spheres pause to remember. But it's hard to top the AFL's haunting tribute, Anzac Day at a deserted G. And she's got it all, a world title, exclusive use of elite training facilities and a husband as her coach.
Busted. Drones dropping drugs into Queensland prisons, day and night. Video never seen before on 7 News, Monday at 6.
Why don't you?
What?
Make a musical.
Hollywood legends Gene Kelly
Which of my pictures have you seen?
and Debbie Reynolds
She's irresistible. She told me so herself.
are dancing up a storm in the must-see musical Singing in the Rain, tonight on 7 Flicks.
Domain stores are open. Our team are taking care to ensure everyone's safety in store. Shop for the essentials like mattresses, Manchester, sofa beds, home office furniture and more. Our range includes the best of Australian-made furniture and bedding. Make it yours and lend local manufacturers your support. Plus, you can buy on no deposit 60 months interest-free at Domain and receive a bonus gift card up to the value of $300. We're here for you in every way. Domain stores are open.
A lot of people have sensitive teeth, but gum health is really important as well. If you've got sensitive teeth, you should be looking for something to help with the sensitivity, but you should also be thinking about, do I need to look after my gums? Using the new Sensodyne Sensitivity and Gum toothpaste not only deals with sensitivity, it also maintains gum health when used twice a day, every day. I think it's fantastic to have a dual action toothpaste. 2 benefits with the one toothpaste. What a great idea.
At Spotlight, fall into winter with 40% off all flannelette bed linen, 40% off Coo Quill cover sets. VIP save $200 on Semco Indigo Overlocker, so you can cuddle it, dream it and sew it for less. Sale on now. At Spotlight, it's what you make it.
When a cold disturbs your family's sleep, Vicks Vapor Rub relieves cough, nasal congestion, muscle aches and pains. They sleep, you sleep. Vicks Vapor Rub relieves 4 cough and cold symptoms.
Years of relentless improvement have led to pioneering Dyson technology, now re-engineered into a bigger format for faster deep cleaning. Only a Dyson works like a Dyson.
The risk of serious illness from coronavirus
increases when you're over 65.
or over 50 if you're of Aboriginal or Torres Strait Islander descent.
So we're following the advice
To stay at home. Queenslanders always help Queenslanders.
That's why the Queensland Government is mobilising our care army.
Asking our friends, family
And neighbours to check in, video call us, help us with food
and medication.
Join our care army and give us a hand.
Authorised by the Queensland Government, Brisbane.
In a world full of flavour, don't let your denture leave you with bad breath. Try new Polydent Cleansing Wipes, our quickest and easiest way to refresh your denture for that super fresh feeling, at home or out and about.
Tonight at 7 p.m, they lied about their age to serve in World War II. Tonight, the incredible story of Australia's boy soldiers. That's 7 p.m. on the latest from 7 News.
The exuberance of the ARL Commission, the teams and broadcasters has again been tempered. Like Anastasia Palaszczuk, the New South Wales Health Minister is now demanding more detail of a May 28 restart.
Playing's an issue, paying respect isn't.
Just listened to the last post this morning, it's 5 o'clock.
Social distancing forcing NRL stars to social media.
Age shall not weary them, nor the years condemn.
At the going down of the sun, and in the morning,
we will remember them.
Anzac Day is about those fallen soldiers that laid their life for what we have in the modern world.
With modern problems, while the broadcast hurdle's cleared, it's just one of many over the next 33 days.
I would love to be able to see Manly come out and start playing and beat the dickens out of everybody else, but there's been no formal plan put to New South Wales Health.
In Melbourne, the G again provided goosebumps on Anzac Day. Instead of nearly 100,000 there, just one had a profound effect.
It might just give you more time to really spend a little bit more time about what these men and women have gone through in these war zones.
On its 25th anniversary, the architect of the Anzac Clash insists this year's flag is anyone's after the AFL delayed its season's plans for another fortnight.
I think we're going to raffle. I think anybody that comes back absolutely prepared the best could really win a premiership.
Ben Davis, 7 News.
Cricket is set for a radical rule change to adapt to a world with coronavirus. The old method of shining the ball with spit and polish clearly doesn't meet new health standards, but the bowlers are worried.
If you didn't maintain the ball at all for 80 overs, it becomes quite easily to bat.
The International Cricket Council has listened. They're set to legalise the artificial use of substances for shining the ball. David Warner's clearly missing cricket, but making the most of his extra family time. He's become a star on the TikTok app. An autumn of dominance continues for racing's Queen Gay Waterhouse. Biosecurity protocols and social distancing made for muted Anzac Day tributes at Rose Hill. But there were no restraints on Gay and training partner Adrian Bott.
But it's all Dawn Passage. Dawn Passage races away with the Hawkesbury Guineas.
The Guineas was Gay's. The Hawkesbury Gold Cup belonged to Team Hawks and Tommy Berry.
Emangiri, Archidemus, another $1. Emangiri wins the cup.
Disappointment for the Queensland connections of Melbourne Cup winner Bowen Declare. He could only manage 5th as he moved out to 2,600 metres today. And no fairy tale at the Sunshine Coast. Wynnum just finished out of the place getters, running in the Seagulls colours with recently deceased skipper Mitch Cronin front of mind. For the families working together in lockdown, here's how Australian athletics power couple make it work. Javelin world champion Kelsey Lee Barber is coached by her husband Mike. It's a unique love story as they target Olympic glory.
When you're a world champion and star pupil at the Australian Institute of Sport, there are added perks. Under strict conditions, Kelsey Lee and Mike Barber get 2 days a week at the AIS track. Rocked by the Olympic postponement at first,
great physical shape. I know I'm throwing far and I want to be touring the world as a world champion.
The goal quickly changed.
Cool, let's try and make myself a 70-metre thrower.
The world record's 72.28.
That rhythm's been looking good. Connections there.
It wasn't supposed to go like this.
One of my mentors said it way at the very start, you know, make sure you don't fall in love with her. Good advice, I just didn't take it.
A good move. In 6 years, they've shared an Olympics, Commonwealth silver, a wedding and Australia's 9th track and field world title.
It works really well, and I think the thing I always come back to is I'm so thankful that I get to share this experience with Mike.
Now more than ever, with the AIS Mental Health Referral Network fortuitously set up 2 years ago, athletes and coaches are navigating this crisis and setting sights even higher.
Let's try and dominate the circuit and let's go into the Olympics, making sure that we can walk in and go, right, we're here to win a gold medal.
Did that at the office, Goss?
Matt Carmichael, 7 News.
And the lengths some will go to get their sporting fix. These surfers trek to northern Norway to catch waves in freezing Arctic waters.
But also there's no sharks. You know, I'm from South Africa. There's plenty of sharks there. There's no sharks here.
Norway has relatively relaxed lockdown laws compared to the rest of Europe and has become an unlikely surfing hub. That's our sport for tonight. There's been some beautiful Anzac tributes this evening in tonight's bulletin, I think.
Haven't there? I've just loved presenting this. Thank you so much, Pat. Well, there's been a happy ending for this entangled grey whale thanks to the care of a dedicated rescue team. It was spotted caught in a stray fishing net off Washington State, close to the Canadian border. We're told a team then spent hours cutting it free and then they followed it for a while to ensure that it was healthy. That's great news. Just ahead, get the tissues out. We have another beautiful Anzac Day story. The surprise service on the front lawn of a Vietnam veteran's home. His heartfelt reaction.
And the weather may have a few surprises for us this week. A shower or two and a drop in temperatures.
Excited? Are you excited? Oh, see, stop breathing for a second.
All his life, he's had a dream.
Find a wife, forget the life.
Find a wife, get the life. Get a house fit for a king, and he'll get his queen.
This is amazing.
This is it. The whole house reveal.
You hit the bloody jackpot. Congratulations, mate.
It'll be unpredictable.
Ooh, what is this?
Because you just never know with them. They might walk in and be like, yeah, it's all right. Or Leif might be like, oh my God.
Oh my God.
It'll make history.
Oh, no.
As the best transformation ever.
Screams VIP.
For distinguished gentlemen like us.
But there's only one opinion that matters.
Are you talking to me? There's nobody else around. You must be talking to me.
What will Mum think?
I'm shaking. I'm really shaking. I'm so sorry for you.
Don't miss the incredible whole house reveal on House Rules on 7. The Whole House Reveal, Sunday at 7 on 7.
Join any combined hospital and extras cover online and we'll waive the 2 and 6 month wait on extras. Plus, for 1 week only, get up to $500 off your policy. Ends April 30. Join NIB today. It's worth it.
Rest easy with me as we dream.
Advocate, so everyone can rest easy.
Rest easy with me.
We're pregnant.
Did someone say KFC?
I don't care. I love it.
In the universe, stars are born every day. Just like in Compton, Western Victoria, where for over 93 years, we've created not just butter, but a star. Western Star. More than butter.
Cookie people, cream people, crumbs people, clean people, twist people, lick people, dunk people, munch people. It's on the play, people. If you twist, lick, dunk, then you're my people. We are Oreo people.
Can care be better at home?
Someone from Medibank mentioned that there's a chance I can do rehab at home.
I said, oh, how much extra is that going to cost?
And they said, no, you've got it in your hospital cover. It just was fantastic for me.
At Chemist Warehouse, your health is our priority, and the safety and well-being of the community is our primary focus. That's why we offer same-day, contact-free home delivery for all prescriptions and essential healthcare. If you need your script filled, simply phone your local store to book your contact-free same-day home delivery. To find your local store, call 1300 734 876. Chemist Warehouse, always here for you.
The silver lining to COVID chaos. We reveal surprising ways it's making our world better. From clear air to lower crime, the new push bike boom, and now the home cook revolution.
Welcome to Kitchen Quarantine.
What's next? Plus, cruises post-corona, the major overhaul to make it virus safe for the future. And as the new day breaks, the breaking news.
New developments on the coronavirus.
The critical announcements are all on Sunrise.
Next on the latest, New York paramedics take us behind the front lines of their fight to save lives in the epicentre of the pandemic. A must-see on the latest from 7 News.
This weather report brought to you by Chemist Warehouse. Contact-free home delivery now available. Shop online or in-store today.
Today's main stories now. Queenslanders light up the dawn, paying tribute from the driveway on an Anzac Day like no other. Small official dawn services were held across the state while the popular Currumbin event was cancelled. Some locals still paid their respects from the beach. Teenage thugs have ambushed a serviceman's family driveway dawn service in Toowoomba, stealing a car. And the kindness of community has boosted the spirits of veterans and servicemen on a very different Anzac Day. He arrived in Australia after fleeing Europe, then signed up to fight for our freedom. Rocky Gazina was devastated about not being able to march this year, so the Vietnam veteran's family planned a heartwarming surprise.
Greeted by a front garden filled with poppies illuminated in the pre-dawn darkness, an act of love leaving Rocky Gazina lost for words.
Part of it. I'm very emotional at the moment.
The 83-year-old arrived in Australia in 1950 as a refugee.
From Europe, having lost our land. And this is my land now.
Rocky's pride evident in his voice in the medals worn upon his chest. He completed national service before spending 21 years in the regular army.
Anzac Day represents freedom. Yeah.
Freedom unable to be commemorated as usual today, Rocky's daughter instead surprising him with this.
Just didn't feel right thinking he wasn't going to have a special dawn service.
This is beautiful, unexpected and emotional. Yeah.
Beside his wife Beverly, Rocky remembered his mates.
Some of them struggle, some are still struggling.
Reflecting on a day that means so much.
It's not about wars, it's about peace. Hoping we don't have another one.
A poignant message for us all. Emily Arnold, 7 News.
Time for the weather now. And Laura, how's the rest of the weekend looking?
Quite simply, Katrina, we can expect more fine and warm days ahead, but a cool change is coming. It might scrape in just before the end of the month. Let's get into the forecast. You can see on the satellite picture there's very little cloud over Queensland at the moment, mostly due to this high off the coast. The lack of cover is why most of the state is experiencing above average temperatures. It allows the land to heat up just that little bit more. On the outlook chart, strengthening onshore winds over the far north coast could lead to some showers, but the rest of the state will stay clear for a few days yet. Checking the capitals, a cool and wet day ahead in Canberra and Melbourne. Rain at times in Adelaide, windy with showers in Hobart, but it should be mostly fine elsewhere. Back to Queensland, a shower or two in Cairns. Townsville and Mackay should stay fine at this stage. Mount Isa getting all the way up to 35 degrees tomorrow. Mostly sunny conditions down the rest of the coast with tops in the high 20s. Rockhampton and Gladstone 19 to 29 degrees. Toowoomba 13 to 25. Sunday in the southeast will feel similar to today. Cool tonight before a fine and warm day with light winds and reaching 30 degrees in the west. Taking a closer look, 17 to 27 at Deception Bay, 14 to 28 at Kenmore. On the water, there's a strong wind warning for the Peninsula and Cooktown coasts, and it'll be quite gusty down the rest of the coast as well. Brisbane tomorrow down to 16 with a top of 28. That's about 2 degrees above the April average. If you've been passing the time gardening, it could be a good idea to get some watering done. We could see an isolated sprinkle or two from Tuesday. Don't get too excited though. While a wind change will lead to a drop in temperatures mid to late week, Friday is looking significantly cooler. Fine and a warm start to the week in Ipswich as well. I wouldn't count on seeing any falls on Tuesday. They're looking coastal. On the Gold Coast, a cracking start to the week and possibly some light showers on Tuesday or Wednesday. Nighttime temperatures could drop sharply into the single digits by next weekend. The Sunshine Coast, maximums of 27 for the next few days, then a high chance of showers midweek. So Katrina, we've been spoilt with this warm April weather, but winter is just around the corner.
Thank you, Laura. Well, that is all from us this Anzac Day. Thank you so much for your company on this sacred but special day. From all the team, have a very good night.